Hello, everybody, and welcome back to some WARNO tournament action. And not just any tournament, but the WARNO League Season 1, as we have the first match here in Division 2, as we have both Stardekk and the lovely Scuff here. One of us, Stardekk, already played in previous leagues, obviously also well known in Steel Division for a lot of active play, a lot of controversy with hot takes on what to pick, what to play, and yeah, Division 2 here being a quite heavily fought one. They are both in Group A here. Babelgun is the other name of Scuff here, and both are pretty strong players for sure. Babelgun there quite high up on the ladder as well. So this should be quite intense. And yeah, I'm joined by the lovely Chloride for these casts as well.
Hello, everybody.
And yeah, we also just got the Matcherino page online. And we just got the go from Matcherino as well for some free funding here, for some free claim codes buttons again. So if you're interested in that, you can help out over at Matcherino once more. But yeah, let's focus on the game here, as this one should be interesting as well. As
Yeah.
Stardekk,
Yeah. Oh,
on
sorry.
his most
Yes, I've been looking at the openers here. There's some very strong openers coming right up here.
Stardekk on his most favorite division here, 27th. Scuff on one of the strongest divisions on the other side. So what do you think about these openers?
So we're seeing kind of maximum second infantry, SAS, 6 SAS rush going, and full metagame completely, both players basically completely shutting out Delta and Charlie, realizing that the northern side here is the way to go. 4 SAS going up north and 2 SAS going down the middle, and with a single recon unit going to even check Delta. And this is coming from second UK, the extremely mobile forward deployment division. Meanwhile, on Shalom's side, on Stardekk side, there is 2 Tors, a 4 BMPs, as well as 3 BTR 80s with Meti squads. These are the best units of the best unit division of the USSR 27th Motostrike coming right up, as well as, of course, with some Spetrosvedka and Motorosvedka. Both of them moving into an immediate contact on the middle, most likely realizing that the fight of the middle will be the deciding factor in the opener, and the Delta and Charlie will belong to those who can fortify and take over this fortress in the early game. Of course, Stardekk on the Soviet side has a significantly slower and better scaling division than second UK, which requires some advantages at the start. It needs some gains. Protoss.
Yeah, Foxes and SAS here coming right in here as the game is now on the go. We have some rover CPs coming up north. We have a good couple of Gazelles with rockets here flying in as well. A Hellarm bringing in a tow with it, together with the Milan 2 inside of it. So some interesting transports here for sure for the British. But on the left side, AA-wise, we only have these Tors, but they are fantastic against helicopters. They have great accuracy, they have great range against helicopters as well. The only issue is they are somewhat slow at the beginning, so they will need a bit of time, and that time the Gazelle rockets might use to bully the Spetrosvedka here in the middle.
Yeah, the Tors are up-vetted, did you realize? I very rarely see this. They are vet 1.
Yes, making them 70% accuracy, which is fantastic. With range scaling, that means they basically don't miss against any planes that fly directly over them. So in general, the anti-aircraft range of it is still not amazing. 3,500 there, not great. In the north, BMP-2 going a bit too deep. The SAS already there, gets immediately killed. BTR needs to be careful, gets killed off as well. This is a tough start in the north here for Stardekk.
Yes, it happens to the best of us, folks. You do forget the enemy's forward deployment every once in a while. But meanwhile, the excellent, massive possibly best value for money soft attack units, BMP3s, are moving in large numbers in the middle here. And as long as they have the Spetsnaz and the other relative recon here, they can. The only weapon on long range that the British can fight against them is the Milan 2. The Foxes, the SAS, those are only expensive boondoggles as long as they can be targeted by the BMP3s.
Yeah, BMP3 is coming in here with the smoke in time. Milan 2 is out. We see more BMP3s with Motostrelki RPG 27s coming up. BTR 80s together with Motostrelkis trying to stop the SAS in the north. Foxes coming in from the side. One BMP3 fighting the deaths here. The Milan 2 still is around as the smoke clears up. Tor has to be really careful there as well. Fox already opening fire on it. Milan 2 under fire. The next BMP3 pops its smoke, so it will get out alive. Tor has one armor, does survive against the Fox there, so it will be able to keep the AA network up here, but the SAS and the snipers cleaning up the Motostrelkis somewhat decently here, and the BMP3 is still being shot at. Ooh, close one there. It's a heavy fighting here in the middle.
Yeah, so looking at Scuff's reinforcements, buying 4 Warrior Milans with armored rifles at Vet 1, as well as a bunch of very cheap and very effective Rover Milans, most likely waiting for the 27th to escalate. So it really does seem like Scuff right now is wanting to push this on the open ground, which is where they'll need the Warrior Milans best. Shalom is recognizing this long-range engagement and investing in another BRM-1, a radar AA unit, as well as a T-80BV, and right now an M1 Akatsiya, the unique unit with the laser-guided indirect fire. As long as the Akatsiya gets corrected shot from nearby friendly recon units, it can basically one-shot infantry teams in cover. It's very good unit, even on long range.
Yeah, it tries to go for the Milan 2 there. The Milan 2 already gets moved though. SAS and Sniper still holding the middle. Medis striking out against the Foxes. Tor still kept alive. BMP3s trying to get the hits there. They start to get the hits in with their great ATGMs, fast-flying ATGMs. The Foxes have to disengage there, away from the Bastion. But still a +2 here for a Scuff. Both players completely ignoring the south here. That's currently the meta on Vertigo, as unfortunately there are no deeper zones here, so the north in general has more points to fight over, and the center zone here is pretty important as well, but not realizing this yet at all here, as finally Stardekk though starts to move a BRM in there, checking what is in there, and it turns out, yeah, absolutely nothing. On the other side, some Saracens with Terrier AT coming up as well, but the pressure, the fight in the north is still very, very hot.
Yeah. So the fight on the north, on the 27th side, is a kind of a predictable soft attack blob with BMP3s, BTR-80s, and T-80BVs firing on and trying to engage enemy infantry units in cover on long range, because that is where the 27th is extremely powerful. Meanwhile, the infantry component is quite weak for the Soviets, considering that the SAS, with their massive veterancy and special forces bonuses, as well as with their a very good weaponry, can just eliminate enemy infantry very quickly. Right now,
Yeah,
we're seeing
Milan
a
2's here really starting to chew in. They get a Tor kill now, as it was somewhat left out in the open there, and even after the first one missed, Stardekk didn't move it into cover. BMP3 is here now starting to fall as well, and this is a big problem. The Milan 2 is also still not being hit by the Akatsiya, and no force here really around to hit them harder, so the Milan 2 is currently having a really good time, and the units here of Stardekk heavily reduced. The infantry doesn't stand a chance without the armored support, and the BMP3s and T-80BVs so far not able to provide that. All the BTR-80 down as well, and this is not a good start here for our player in red at all.
Yeah, even though Scuff has been really slow at taking out the 2 free points at Delta and Charlie, currently sending Saracens with Terrier's AT group, as we saw used by Pro Comi in the tournament recently, finally sending a Rover CP to get those 3 points. Right now, it really does look pretty bad for Stardekk. Stardekk built a pretty nice soft attack blob right there and got immediately pushed into a bad engagement, and we can see the ground
I think
smoking
the
over
way to
expensive
recover
unit.
for Stardekk here is really playing the long game, but he hasn't given up on the north yet, and I think that would have been the play here, realizing that the south is open, taking those 2 zones, and then playing it slow from there, but Stardekk continuously pushing in here at the moment, and this is going to be tough, as now he most likely will lose the south as well, as Scuff comes in with more Terrier Pioneers there already, Rover CP on the way, and that will make the +2 tick a +3 and potentially a +4 tick for Scuff, which will end the game quite quickly. So at the same time, the fights in the north not really going Stardekk's way still. The BMP3s trying to get some hits off, but they still can't really get any kills. And oh no, disaster strikes as a Milan 2 finds the side armor of the T80BV, and that's an instant kill. And that is terrible, terrible news there, as Stardekk now left with only one BMP3 for the whole north, whilst on the other side we have a Challenger, we have a couple of Warriors already out, we have a couple of Milans. The Milan in the center finally gets struck by the Akatsiya, but that's not good enough here really to swing this game around.
Yeah. So Stardeck's tactic clearly is to put tough against tough, as we say in Finland, and buying 2 Akatsias to just basically force through all of this second UK fortification here. But this is such a difficult angle to attack. This is such a you need so much power to break through every single building that can target you if you're from the middle, if you're pushing up to Bravo, and meanwhile your opponent is second UK. That is the fast reinforcing infantry division with the good infantry, and even if the 6, or what do they get, 8 max Challenger 2s are unvetted, on defense, those are still unvetted tanks, and you still need to take care of them, which requires even more resources for the 27th. So if Stardekk actually wants this specific tactic to work, something needs to change fast, because it's not going to go to the late game here.
Yeah, Mobile Scouts pushing forward, Challengers and Warriors sitting up north. More SAS pushing in there deeper. We see Scuff also now trying to get some Terriers with a Carl Gustav into the reinforcement lines there. As the Akatsias continue firing, Stardekk at least able to secure the southern zone, though not getting into Delta, which is still occupied here by Scuff, keeping Scuff on a constant +2. And Stardekk really with a lot of fight ahead of him if he wants to turn it around. Artillery play kind of the way back in here, but it's not gonna be easy.
Yeah, the artillery play on 27th can be extremely effective. The Nonas, the Grads, the Akatsias, these are all like very potent artillery units in the current meta. But the second UK can just kind of outlast them. They have everything from Terriers, AT groups, Milan 2s, just motorized air mobiles. We haven't even seen the kind of generally expected helicopter assault part of second UK from Scuff. It could be that they're just not running it, but also possible that inside the deck there is a counterattack potential in case Stardekk manages to actually fortify infantry around here.
Out the
Second
battery
UK
now
has
coming in on
resources.
the Akatsiya. Ooh, a good second salvo there. It gets moved now, but it's already pretty low. Halfway down. If there are 2 more good hits, and there are 2 more good hits, the counter battery really starts to hurt here. 155 get the kill, and that was the last real remaining win condition in my eyes for Stardekk. It was a tough one already. It got even tougher now as it's down to 1 artillery piece. And yeah, Scuff is on top of it, has the south, the delta point under control as well. Charlie is contested, but not really a victory here so far for Stardekk either. And Stardekk is running out of spaces where he can gain victories because the new numbers currently just rising higher and higher here for Scuff. Maybe the BMP3s and the BRM can get a bit of damage hit in the north. The BRM1 at least finding the Terrier AT group that tries to get an ambush as well. That one in a really good spot, that BRM. But the fight here still not going great. BMP3 is now charging at Delta, and yeah, victory at Delta, the only thing that can push this into a long game and potentially make the Stardekk slowly come back in the long run. But this assault here has to work out, basically.
Yeah, this 2 BMP, 2 separate RPO attack is a very basic 27th Motostrelki push. It has the best Soviet units working all together, but it's still pretty minimum. You don't have recon here. You have to sacrifice the infantry units. As you can see, the separate RPO get taken out by the 25-point Terriers 80 group. You don't have recon here, which means you have to make contact with your infantry, and this takes time. And during this time, a second UK has one of the best abilities to reinforce with cheap, affordable, good infantry units.
Yeah, both sides killing each other's units off here once more, but that's obviously great for Scuff, who is both in the point lead and also in the unit lead at the battlefield right now. Another Tor gets killed off in the north. The Milans, they're still too numerous. The artillery currently not able to break through, and the BMP3 assault here in the south getting killed off by Milan 2 as well, as there's also not any real recon here around the southern side, so the Milan 2 doesn't even really get spotted. As the MP3 has to fall back. TAD not able to come in, and the second UK really having this on lockdown as a Challenger Mark II pushes through the south as well. Most likely going to bring this up to a +4 here in a second, and with that, the time for Stardekk really starts to run out.
Yeah, Stardekk's deployments are already being defensive, expecting Charlie to be completely lost. And the Spetsnaz which would maybe speak of a future attempt at creating a fire support blob, is going against Delta, the larger
Ooh,
town.
another Tunguska getting struck by the Milan 2s. The Milan 2 positions here for Scuff just a bit too good. And yeah, there we have it. Stardekk GG's out of this game, and Scuff
Yes,
takes map number 1 here with a
yes.
clean 2-1 KD as well. Not the opener that Stardekk hoped for, and yeah,
Yeah.
Scuff just taking it from there.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to say, which is that the artillery just hasn't managed to trade out the second UK fortified in the multitude of buildings down there. So there was just there needed to be a massive overextension from Scoff's part to leave those positions, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, really, really strong play by Scuff. Classic second UK there, getting the opener, and yeah, Stardekk just fighting on the wrong spots time and again, losing a couple of the opener units to the SAS as well. Obviously, does hurt as well, especially as Recon was involved there as well, which could have helped spotting the Milan 2s, which are so hard to spot currently in buildings already. And if you then don't have Recon around, they start to become invisible completely. And yeah, not having anything for the south to check out what is the situation there, which could have been exploited by both sides earlier, but especially I think by Stardekk as a fallback. Yeah, leaving that open and leaving it to Scuff as well really finalize the result here, leading to a 1-0 lead here by Scuff. Let's see what game number 2 brings. Quick break, guys. Then we're gonna be back with game number 2.
Yes. the round 2 of Scuff versus Stardekk / Shalom, meaning peace in Hebrew, I believe. Shalom once again playing on the same map, though on the other side, the 27th high-tech Soviet motorized rifle division, already starting out with the BMP3s and the Tors. But on the west, we can see Scuff playing the 2nd Panzer Grenadier. And once again, I believe we are going very heavily into meta. This is ranked excellence right now. We're seeing Scuff exploit the 2nd Panzer Grenadier's ability to have a forward deployment infantry opener with a very good optics, though mediocre attack power looks. Recon vehicles coming right behind them as fire support, followed up by an Eyehawk and a Gepard. There was also a Leopard 2A3 leader, but they have been replaced by 2 Leopard 2A1A1 tanks. An extremely aggro interpretation of the 2nd Panzer Grenadier, and as the metagame dictates, going to the top and the middle, with once again Delta and Charlie being left completely empty. Would be interested in seeing just one of these players early in the game realize that the same thing was happening once again, but I think both of them are just thinking of the decisive battle, the decisive opener. That is the meta really right now. It is all in at the start.
Yeah, we have a Mi-24K coming up this time around for Stardekk. We have the double Tor once more to deal with planes and helicopters trying to dive in, though not that many helicopters on 2nd UK, so 2nd Panzer Grenadier, so more an anti-airplane opener this time around to protect the Hind here. Hind flying forward. Not much AA here on the other side for Gaff, and that could end in disaster. We have an Eyehawk, we have the Gepard, but they're pretty far in the rear, and the Hind is already rolling in. I'm surprised to see it stop there. Have just do the rocket run a bit closer, maybe even, though the looks, I guess, are somewhat dangerous. Fallschirmjägers, number 1, go down. Rajvetka will get into the buildings in the center. In the south, we have the Fallschirmjägers going deeper, though. Lux is now able to attack the Hind here. Hind not going away. That's a mistake. Okay, it's flying low now. Trying to micro the way. Maybe while it's flying low is the... No, it just instantly landed. But the F-16 coming in with some damage. Can the Tors find a missile? I don't think so. Hind goes down to ground units. Yeah, should have disengaged differently there. As the F-16 at least, though, gets cleaned up by a MiG-29 that came in to help out there in the air fight. Staying superior in that one, but the Hind loss... It did a good amount of damage, but it still will allow Scuff here to get into that middle town, as the Luxus and the Fallschirmjägers roam around as well, and the BMP3s are on a similar spot, just on the other side of the map this time. Can they breach it this time?
Yes, the deployment by Stardekk of deploying basically right on the western, from our perspective, corner of Alpha is very smart in my opinion. Just being extremely careful about the ability of that Fallschirmpala Milan from the Scuf side to be able to target these BMPs. Being able to walk the infantry safely into the buildings, safely and carefully, and now targeting these Fallschirmjägers, these veteran Fallschirmjägers, with the most beneficial possible engagements. I have too found out that on Scuff's side there are positions where you can position your infantry in cover where they are quite difficult to target. It seems like Scuff is actually exploiting these positions right now, but the Leopard 2A3 is not being able to target the Soviet column, whereas we can see that the Soviet fire support is already being able to methodically take out 2 of the 3 Fallschirmjägers.
Fallschirmjäger, yeah, going down. One of the BMP3s at least, though, being taken out by a Panzerfaust 3-shot there. Leo 2A3 now getting involved a bit as well. The Moto Strelkis already took some damage. There is a Ural to heal them up, so you don't want to risk losing them. The MiG-19 here being called in as a really aggressive strafing run. That didn't pay off at all. Yeah, what is an Eyehawk? There is a Gepard. The Eyehawk does get a hit in as it was really close to that diving MiG-29, and losing the MiG-29 like that, I don't think is great because Second Panzer Grenadier has some strong attack aircraft as well. So having to reinvest into fighters, not the position you want to be in here.
Yeah, I respect Scuff's full commitment to the uh, full-on push on the strategically important sites, but I really would like to have seen just a single Fallschirm Grenadier take like position on up Charlie and Delta. Right now, we are seeing the first units moving there 4 minutes in, and but this is already this could have been 5 or 3 or 4 minutes of +2 or +1 tick, which in long term, playing against something like 27th could actually come in useful. I think this investment into the opener in our south is kind of a reveal. Kind of reveals Scott's insecurity about the ability to actually face 27th in the late game, which most likely is completely realistic and not a bad idea
Yeah,
because
we
27th is
currently
very powerful.
don't have a take for either side. Scuff is the first one though to bring more units towards Delta, but Charlie in the hand of one Motostrelki at the moment. The MiG-29 sacrificed at least allowed Stardekk also to know what kind of units, what kind of AA units there are around. So the Heinz this time around can stay a bit more defensive, though the Gepards opening up fire against them once more here. The Hind using its fire on the ground here now, though. Gepard, does it realize in time? No, it doesn't. Yeah, that's a super gnarly trick. I hope that will get eventually um, fixed by Eugen. That landed helicopters still can fire on max range is kind of an exploit. But yeah,
Yeah,
really
it
long
doesn't
range
sound.
ATGM here
Yes,
trying to deal with the Gepards. Especially Gepard users get caught out by that quite often. The Hind there getting a nice kill will make it a bit harder here for Scuff. But the Hind here in a really annoying line of fire. It's even more dangerous with Akulas or other like the Apaches because they have even longer and faster flying missiles. But it's still pretty good with the Caw as well here to have a long line of fire for these ATGMs.
yeah. I need to alert you to a horrible crime that is happening on Scuff's side. There is the M113A1G Aufklärer is being used. The frankly, I believe overpriced 25-point good optics recon vehicle. But honestly, Scuff is probably a better player than me, so I'm not gonna talk too much shit. But I do think this is a very interesting choice of units.
Yeah, we at the same time have BMP3s pushing in the south, Milan 2 being pushed out there. As BMP3s slowly roll forward as well, the Heinz flying around.
Yeah, the fact that both Stardekk and Scuff are currently right now bringing in leaders up to Charlie and Delta, it's such a bad look for Scuff considering Scuff only had 100 points. They could be defending right now instead of attacking against 27th Motostrelki.
Iborg getting in range now of the Heinz. The Heinz not being hit though, really unfortunate situation there that the Eyehawk misses 2 times in a row and the third one goes astray. Diggerfaust's not able to finish it off either. Yeah, the Eyehawk there missing twice against the Heinz. Really gnarly, and the Heinz still staying around strong. We have the Akatsuya now on the battlefield. That will be dangerous. Hitting a Leo 2A3 leader at the moment might get a kill on it. It gets a hit on a Leo 1A1 instead, but the Eyehawk now living really dangerous life here as well. The 6x6 might have to pick it up right now before the Akatsuya can switch target and finish it off. Another Gepard being brought around, but at the moment Scuff just losing unit after unit, Fuchs Milan and Milan 2 going down and not really achieving much. If the helicopters, at least one of them would have been taken out, the fight would have been okay. By not killing either, it's a bit of a tough position. As in the north, we see Jäger of Clara there being brought around towards Charlie. A couple more units coming in there as well. Delta, not really being well secured here by Scuff. No ATGMs in there yet, and only 2 infantry units, so Stardekk potentially could push that with 1 or 2 BMP3s in infantry, but so far not really moving into it either.
Yeah, to point out that only 4 seconds of points, only 4 points were gained from capturing the north. That is how immediate both of them, how at the same time they took the point, which once again, in my opinion, is just a small slight against Scuff, because Scuff with the more aggressive division should have those points right now and should currently be preparing for a defense after the 10 minutes instead of a continuing attack against a foe who is building up very fast. The 2 Mi-24V Hinds, the rocket Hinds, are currently being resupplied, and I have realized that the best way to think about using helicopters, especially rocket
Brad
helicopters,
coming in. Brad, really good chance here. Yes, it gets the Leo 283, and yeah, Scuff really getting punished for staying at the same spot for too long here. Artillery coming in with a really good hit, and this is a terrible situation, you know, for Scuff. Losing the Ihawk turret as well, way too clumped up there, and that's where artillery now really comes in. I still believe a lot of players, even on the higher levels, still haven't fully realized or haven't adjusted at least to how to play with artillery now being a good bit more deadly. And
yeah, the
Stardekk
Scuff.
really using it nicely.
Yeah, the Scuff's aggro mindset, which push the Ihawk right there up in the front to take out helicopters instead of a couple of 100 meters to the east safely. The aggro mindset was the death of the Ihawk. But as I mentioned, the Hinds, I have personally found out that the best way to use them is kind of thinking of them as rocket planes, sending them out on missions, then immediately taking them out. And right now there is a single routed Gepard and a single Fliegerfaust and a single Gepard further away. This could all be very quickly
No,
taken out.
the Milan 2 that was trying to control the open field gets taken out by the 2 Akatsias as well. They now aim to the north too, where there is a Jäger Aufklärer in a pretty endangered spot as well. And yeah, this is terrible news here for Scuff. The south completely falling apart. Only 1 Leo 1A1 ADBs and BMP3s pushing forward as well. And this is looking like it might lead to Stardekk turning around the south completely. At least Scuff got control over the northern point, but that's only with the leader. He isn't fully controlling it with units yet, as there is artillery onto the Jäger Aufklärer. The Jäger Aufklärer, they might go down here in a second. MP3 hitting hard as well, and this is going to be a rough one in the south as well now for Scuff.
Yeah, if there's something that Scuff actually has here, it is the points advantage and the recon advantage, and nothing else. The Leopard 2, the Jaguar 2, as the Armada Milan, a single Armada Milan, are going to try to work with these 2 heavy field howitzers to actually keep Stardekk away from Bravo. But Stardekk is a heavy motorized, high veterancy, heavy damage per second division right now, getting into position. I don't see I don't see a Scuff taking this this immediately, and we'll have to actually go back into the attack again, I believe.
Yeah, we have a TADVV now slowly moving through here. TADVVK got the capture point, 127 points lead for Scuff, but this is going to be hard to defend. No artillery play out of second yet. We have 2 155mm howitzers really far in the rear. They both are unloaded by now, but they haven't shot a single shot yet. And they, I guess, are once more waiting to try to catch at least one of these Akatsias. But they don't have any transports near to them anymore. It seems like Scuff sold them by accident, most likely, because that means they are stuck there. They can't be repositioned, and that means counter battery will hit them as well, as the Akatsi are continuously dealing damage in the north. Leo 2A3 tries to get into an engagement here against the TADBVKs. Will it be able to do so? It does miss here. BMP3 firing, and another TADBV might get the kill, and there we go. Leo 2A3 bites the dust, and that's another pricey loss here in the south.
Yeah, Leo 2A3 is the best MBT to bring out first. It is not the best MBT to bring out when your enemy has 2 BMP3s and 2 T80s in defensive positions, because it has less armor, unfortunately.
Let's see hitting towards Charlie here. No, Delta now as well. The 155 millimeters not finding their target. ADBBK did move out of the way, but they revealed themselves now, so Stardekk should start to rotate the Akatsias around. We see it on the first one already. It fires and then moves. I mean, you always should do that, but especially after you see the enemy artillery, you really should get into the habit of microing your artillery. Before that, it can be a bit of a, like, you should get into the habit, but it's obviously always a bit of micro that you don't invest elsewhere. But it's absolutely necessary.
But if you want to invest in learning something like 27th or other kind of these fast moving heavily mechanized divisions, you want to learn the micro, because the artillery is just such a big bonus, and you can't not use them anymore. You used to be able to dodge artillery usage if you were lazy, replacing them with air, but no longer.
We have a really interesting deep dive here though from Scav. A BO-105 with a recon helicopter next to it, diving deep into the enemy lines, finding the Grud. Will they find the Akatsia here as well? They find the first one, firing once more here. Stardekk reacting to it with a BTR-80 and the Hind helicopter flying back as well. The BO trying to get the best out of it, firing onto the Ural as well. Finds 4 kills with its 6 missiles. Will now be shut down by the Hind, but this was a really good deep dive into the enemy rear, bringing the artillery advantage in the long term to 2nd Panzer Grenadiers. And with the North being under full control here by Scav, this could develop interestingly. Really good deep dive.
So basically, 27th is, people often call it a blob division because it benefits from having these mechanized units move in a large cohesion together. But unlike something like 5th Panzer, 27th can basically create blobs out of nowhere. The units are so good, especially with the BMP3s, that they can just immediately start out having these small armor blobs. And we're seeing up north there being a T-80BV, 2 T-80BVs, a Motorasvedka, and BMP-3, followed up by a Tunguskans and infantry. And this already seems like a force that is controlled well enough and microed well enough, could actually break through the entire north unless Scav manages to fortify the north against this.
Yes, Scav with a good idea with a Milan 1 in the south as well. Motorasvedka were too close to it though, spotting it before it could find enough damage to really pay off. And the artillery, the remaining artillery here for Stardekk still finding good hits. What's the 155mm on the side of Scav? Not quite doing so. We have a tornado cluster in the sky, but it's the issue with tornado cluster is that the cluster bombs drop relatively slowly. So you want to only use it against TADBVs that are actually already heavily stressed, or that are in deep forest so that they can't just move out of the way quickly. And that's currently not really the case here on any of the TADBVs on the other side.
Yes, I want my cluster plane to go fast and be accurate. I don't want to pay extra for exceptional air optics. Thank you very much.
Oh no, Tunguska finding the tornado most likely here. Oh, it's super low. It will get out alive, but it's really, really low. And it didn't drop its cluster onto the TADBV in the north, as it wasn't on a ground attack. It was on an attack move onto the TADBV. A bit of a mistake there by Scav, and the northern infantry here for Stardekk already pretty scary, and at the same time Scav still has to find a solution for the southern forces of Stardekk to keep them out of Charlie here as well.
Yeah, this building up and trying to reinforce these wounded units down south for Stardekk basically implies that even if Scav wants to play a fully defensive game, they're gonna need to divide their forces from a push both up north and down south. And down south, where there is more land to give to the enemy is also just more powerful. So this really is really stretches the second Panzer Grenadier's abilities to reinforce against this kind of an attack. This really is kind of peak 27th gameplay coming here, building up these soft attack blobs and always engaging with the maximum amount of cannons firing at the same time.
Artillery coming in for the Spaz Redka as well in the north. So we might see finally some kills here for Scuff's artillery. So they are a bit far back, so the accuracy isn't great. What Scuff really needs to get working though is some kills onto BMP3s and T80BVs, and we don't see those yet. BMP3s outranging the enemy with their ATGMs as well, hitting the Jaguar 2 there, which usually is a fantastic ATGM vehicle, but against the BMP3, it's not in its absolute prime position.
Yeah, the positions for Scuff, you can visually see how this is going to go. The positions currently held by these Leopard 2s and the forest, the kind of northern part of the forest, if these are taken by the attacker, the whole amount of ground and tactical control and fire controls need to be relinquished. The second defensive positions are at Charlie and at the wooden portions north and south of Charlie. And it's very difficult to retreat with these units if the enemy just decides to go for them.
Milan 1 getting killed off as well. Conqueror's M, really scary. The highest damage output ground-based ATGM for the Soviets with 23 AP. The Leo 2s taking heavy damage from those, and the Jaguar goes down as well. A lot of ATGMs here flying towards the Leo 2, and it's already down to 6 hit points, so a couple more hits and it will go down. And this is not a great position for Scuff. It's not over because Scuff kept control of Charlie in the north. I'm not quite sure why there's 2 points on the map that are called Charlie. That's quite curious, but
oh wow, that's
the northern Charlie being controlled here by Scuff. So Scuff only, quotation marks, needs to add control over the south, but that will be really tough here.
Yeah, T80BVs are peculiar tanks. I like to call them defensive tanks because they are a bit slower and they are best at the max range, considering they have the Cobra missiles at 600 meters. But they also have the autoloaders, and the autoloaders mean that the longer a long-range firefight keeps on going with the tanks, the more the T80BVs are going to trade better, because the T80BVs are not going to lose their reloading ability even under fire. So this basically has this kind of a... the fact that T80BV also has 11 max health with the reactive armor basically means that as long as these units are being kept alive, it's not that difficult to slowly build them up to just be a superior amount of firepower to the enemy. We're seeing the Mi-24B rocket taking out a daring West German infantry squad and forcing Scuff to pull back to the right side of the forest, after which there is basically nothing else. If there is a bad engagement taken, no infantry reinforcements are coming to the West German backpoint on the east.
Yeah, we see Scuff pushing a bit forward in the north, but the BMP3 in too good of a spot there. Milan 2 not in range to fire upon it, and it clears off the Jaegers there quite nicely with its autocannon and its big 100mm main gun. And yeah, there's a little AA here to deal with the Hind in the south, which also pushes back the Leo 2A3, the Mi-24 here, in a really, really good spot. And it looks like Stardekk starts to push through here in the south. Still needs to get some points eventually. 17 minutes left remaining, but it's only 127 points here for Scuff, and that is not a great advantage here to go into the final half of the game here.
Yeah, to think about the kind of regular counterattack weapons or assets that you have with Second Panzer Grenadier, one of my personal favorites is just spamming like four to six Marder Milans and just sending them up to take ground by full force. But even that is a very bad idea against this large, healthy population of BMP-3s, which of course are equipped with the IFV murdering missile, patent Soviet Union 1989.
Yeah, we have Scuff coming in with some Leo 1A1s. I'm not sure I like that idea. I guess it's just so that there are more guns, at least on his side. Losing a Jaguar there to the SU-17 though. But he needs to keep units alive as well. And Leo 1s are not known for staying alive for long. And that's the issue. Like, Scuff needs to get a combined arms up that can kill off the armored units, whilst also being microable and survivable enough to stay alive. I think Leo 2s are the only real option here, but even that obviously will get harder and harder as currently the south is starting to collapse. The Hind gets shut down by an F-16 at least, but the Taurus in a perfect spot there behind the mountain immediately clap it once the F-16 is in range. And first Leo 1A1 already dying in the south, second one going down as well, and Scuff here on the brink of defeat in the south.
Yeah. So when I said earlier, I used the kind of Finnish translation of a term tough against tough, when you just go and try to overpower the enemy on equal terms and not necessarily trying to kind of play out the game and think about which are the best position for me to go, just relying on your fundamentals, relying on your deck, relying on your unit control and your ability to resupply these units. And 25 minutes in, we're seeing what it means for the 27th. Stardekk's forces are continuously are basically the entire middle of the map is just a contiguous blob of well-spaced Stardekk logistics units and artillery and AA and long-range damage-dealing units. This is like an incredible example of how it is possible to just scale better in the late game as long as you keep on taking good engagements. Up north, we saw that Stardekk was losing steam and basically being heavily threatened by certain positions by and flanks. So Stardekk just pushed down south again. Just don't take the bad engagements, and you won't lose any units by 25 minutes.
Yes, and the BMP-3 is really showing their strength on range here. They're not as oppressive as they have been in previous iterations of Vertigo when we didn't have these buildings in the center, but they are still really strong. And yeah, Stardekk bringing it back with 27 this time around, getting the W, and yeah, also coming back onto Scuff here with a similar KD to what we saw in game number 1, bringing it 2-1 around for him this time, and getting a score on the board as well, leaving our first match here in the league season 1 with a 1-1 situation. As yeah, league allows like group stage games are played in a best of 2 format. So if both players win a map, they get a draw out of the whole situation. So GGVP to Scuff and Stardekk both securing their first point towards the group stage. Obviously, it's better than no points, but it also means that you already lost a point as well, meaning that you will have to gain them in future matches here.
Yeah, I think looking at kills and losses will show a large amount of value being gained by expensive units, both very early on from Stardekk's side, whether it be Mi-24s, Acacias, Grads, tanks, whatever. It's just traded well enough and the same units were kept alive long enough that the units were able to carry these engagements up until the end. The advantages of the Second Panzer Grenadier are many, and especially on ranked. If new players are interested in playing, Second Panzer Grenadier is a pretty easy deck to do early openers, aggro openers with good mid-game pushes. But right now, the aggro opener and the mid-game push were just not enough to compensate for the amount of trading that happened on Stardekk's side.
Yeah, and that is finishing it here for the first games of WARNO League. And once more, guys, we have a match arena now for it as well. And big thanks to Jasp already coming in there. with the first one. And yeah, players using not the wrong names, always a bit annoying. But or switching names around. But yeah, Stardekk is the guy under the name Shalom.
Yeah.
And yeah, much so
I
you
would.
know, you can click the claim code button again, guys. We have a lot of time this time around, so I won't stress you out now. But yeah, we should get around here to get these 50 codes up to at least get that free money from Matcherino directly into the prize pool. And yeah, with that said, guys, we're gonna end it here. Short stream, as we only have one game so far, but it's a good one as well.
Yeah, I did the pro gamer move of showing my whole legal name on stream right now. Not that I really care about it, but I would like to actually, I would actually like to defend the changing of names. I think it's an acceptable and a suitable amount of expressive freedom for the players. I totally didn't choose the name chloride when I was 17-year-old in my first chemistry class, trying to learn chemistry because I wanted to teach it to a girl who I had a crush with, and now I'm stuck with the name. Absolutely not something that happened to me.
Well, I would choose Protoss Soccer because I played Protoss when I was 15. So yeah, you gotta stick it through with it, guys. But yeah, we're gonna end it here. I'm gonna send you over to a friend of the channel who's playing some Rainbow Six Siege. So yeah, say hello to Fraser, guys, and have fun
Yeah.
over there with some Rainbow Six. Good game as
And
well. And yeah, thanks for
and
watching.
thank you
Have a good
everyone
day.
for listening from me too.
And yeah, check out Chloride's channel as well, guys, if you haven't done so yet. You absolutely should. Bye bye, and have a great day, guys.